What's up, YouTube? On my way to start this work week. So today, give you a little advice for any rookie or anybody looking to try to figure out what niche in trucking should they do. When I say niche, I mean like car hauling, flatbed, any type of specific division in trucking. So I'm gonna give you my opinion. So when I first started, got my license, and going through CDL school. When I was choosing or thinking about which one I wanted to do, two things played in my mind. Basically, what makes the most money, of course, and something that I would like doing also. So one was what made the most money. Two was something that I would like doing. So at the time when I was in CDL school, I knew I didn't have at that time, point in time, I didn't have that much of a drive stamina. I couldn't drive that long periods of time for real. So at that time, I was thinking about doing flatbed because it made the most money out of the ones out of the ones they offer you when you're at school. Because really, like, choices you really see for the most part is dry van, reefer, and flatbed when you're CDL school. So at first I was thinking about flatbed, but then I got to thinking, I was like, with me knowing that I can't drive that long periods of time at this point right now, I was like, me having to do that labor, that physical work, and then still having to drive, that probably isn't gonna work out for me. I probably ain't gonna be too successful with that. So after going through that, I basically chose refrigerated. But then after getting the experience and starting to get bored with the refrigeration and wanting to get more money also, I had to get back to the drawing board, think about what type of niche I wanted to get into this time. So when it came time for me to choose car hauling, the factors I looked at in this approach this time, the factors I considered was, I looked at my area. What type of trucking's, I would say, trying to find the best way to word it. What type of what's the most type of trucks you see in your area? My area, I saw a lot of car haulers. I also know the area I live in, the economy, the cost of living is real high. Car sales and all that type of stuff. Like I live in like a major city type area, and surrounding cities around me. So I was like, yeah, I think I'd be able to get home a lot with the car hauling thing. When I was doing my research, there's a lot of car haulers in my area that was able to be regional, basically come home on the weekends, and they was able to be local. I knew for a fact reefer wasn't an option for me to be able to get home local, or possibly not even. I could probably do regional refrigerator, but I knew in the long haul, if I so happened to want it to be local, that wasn't gonna be a possibility, because I don't really see I don't see no big warehouses. It's not no big warehouses like that in my area for the Class A drivers. It's some little small stuff for like little box trucks, but that's about it. So that one factor, what I looked at was what's popping in my area, basically. The second factor I looked at, out of the specialized things and the things I considered in this situation, was like I said, I thought about flatbed again. I thought about tankers. I was like, I'm not getting no hazmat. I don't want to be driving nothing explosive. And then I also thought about car hauling. I was like, I used to think about when I used to work at a car wash. I was around those cars all the time. I like being around those cars and seeing the new vehicles and stuff like that, and getting to drive them for the 2 seconds you drive them in the bay to clean them and stuff like that. And that's basically the 2 seconds I spend driving up on the ramp for real. So I was like, I kind of like being around the cars. So I said I can see myself more so doing the car hauling versus doing the flatbed, being a construction site. So I was like, that ain't really my personality for real. Car hauling more so at my lane. And then also I knew I wanted to be in charge of my load times, because as much as possible, because refrigerated, you just back into the dark and you sitting and wait for them to load you or unload you, and they can take as long as they want. And flatbed, they still loading you also. I mean, you got to strap it to secure it, but you still got to wait on them to load you also. So I knew with car hauling, I would be majority of the time in charge of my load time. Yeah, they got to release the cars to you, but as far as that, how fast you can put them on your decks is how fast, you know what I'm saying, you're going to get in and out. So that was a key factor. And that's what led me to choose car hauling. So I guess in the summary, basically look at the factors you need to look at. What's the niche you see most popping in your area? Like if you live in a rural area where you got a bunch of warehouses and stuff, and you probably want to get in the refrigerator because you want to get, because in the long run, you're going to eventually want to be home, or if you're not already, if you don't already want to be home. So you want to think about that key factor. What's popping in your area? Just all you got to do is be observant. Just looking when you're going home. What's the most type of trucks you see, or what's the things you see in your area? So like I said, that's one thing. 2, look at your personality, or you know what you like to do or what you don't like to do. If you don't like getting your hands dirty, or you know what I'm saying, then don't be no flatbedder. If you know that you like to exercise, you like to work out, and car hauling might be for you. Cause like that was another thing too. I always like to exercise, and what I noticed from when I went refrigerator, I didn't have time to work out like I used to, and none of that stuff. So I knew car hauling would give me my exercise that I like to do. So you look at what you like to do, where you live, what's popping in your area, and what's another thing you could look at? What's popping in your area, what you like to do, and yeah, what pays, of course. I would say those 3 factors you want to look at when you trying to pick what niche you want to choose. What's popping in your area, what you like to do, and what pays. So yeah, YouTube. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope it's informative. I'll holler at y'all on the next one.